engineering bay is on the way up, and now it's going to be some tense mid-game maneuvering. The vultures are going to go around, mine up the whole map, and just slow the dragoons' movements. And in the meantime, there's that arbiter, which is going to probably play a big role when Leta eventually decides to push his forces out. Leta can comfortably harass and sit and macro up his forces off of 3 bases, but eventually he is going to need to push out and take some map control. Otherwise, Movie is going to be able to take, and Movie would be able to just contain Leta. If Leta waits too long, Movie is going to be able to macro up off of a large number of bases too, and just stomp the Terran push as it leaves the base. More gateways now going up for Movie, and yeah, still just a lot of skirmishes around the middle of the map. No real commitments to a large-scale push, though that should be pretty soon. Here comes a forge for Movie, partly in that placement to block off vulture mobility if another drop appears there. Also, just to get some cannons to defend against this vulture harassment, which has been pretty good by Leta, but I don't think there's really been enough of it. Leta's economy, on the other hand, has gone completely unharassed so far. So Movie is thinking that he'll just be able to power through in a straight-up game. And it's possible. His macro is looking pretty good right now, but it's not assured. It's also kind of hard to say how a Protoss should approach harassing a Terran's economy. Like, Reaver or DT harass is pretty much all there is. DTs wouldn't have worked out so great in this game, and if he'd gone for Reavers, it would have delayed the 2-base arbiters. So it's looking like it's going to be a later game harass with a big recall on the factories. The first science vessel is out. I don't think there was an EMP yet, but it looks like there's enough detection that this is going to be fended off with pretty minimal losses to Leta there, and that might be just what Leta needs to trigger his forces to start pushing out. That arbiter is still keeping a dragoon cloaked in the mineral line, but that's with the detection provided by that science vessel, that's not going to do much, and that arbiter is going to fly up onto those cliffs. It's in some danger, though. A single Wraith could take that down pretty easily. But yeah, now how is Leta going to react to this? He's getting a pretty big army together, but he hasn't really moved to leave his corner of the map just yet. And Movie is going to be able to keep building up those arbiters. Though he is going to lose that one. So we had a 2-base arbiter build, now transitioning into just a kind of typical 3 or so base Protoss build. Movie, if he had set up that 4th base on the bottom side, he's since lost it. So economically, Leta is going to be ahead here very soon, if he isn't already, just because it's 3 bases to 3, and the Protoss really want to be one up on. They really want to be one up on the Terran. They'd love to be one up on everyone. They'd especially like to be one up on the Zerg, which would just be brutal. But yeah, Protoss want to be 1 base ahead of the Terran, and right now Movie is not. So he's going to have to use these arbiters really effectively in order to secure himself a 4th. Because the longer this goes on like this, the bigger the economic advantage, and the faster that's going to translate into a military advantage for Leta. Here we go, there's a Nexus going up, but there are some vultures on hand to start harassing it. Dragoons are going to be clearing that out, but see, there's a yeah, so that expansion is going to go up, but Leta's going to have already been on 3 bases for a while to Movie's 3, and Movie's going to need some time to just catch up. He might also be tempted to go for a double expand to try to just get and stay ahead, because Leta is going to be able to take a fourth before very long and defend it. Though in order to do that, he's going to have to push out some. So that's the kind of point of tension here. So let's see. Movie being very aggressive with that lead Dragoon, doing some minesweeping, though not sure that's the right move. And it's a drop behind that pylon wall, but some nice storms by Movie cleaning that up and minimizing the damage from it. Good play by him. And let's see, there's some vultures moving around the top left end of the map, and Leta is looking to take his fourth. So Movie is going to have to deal with that. And he has opted to take that fourth without pushing out and establishing the map control, which might make it a little bit more difficult for Leta to defend that later. But he has got a lot of tanks and a lot of turrets too. So recalls, if that's what Movie is going for, and Movie does love recalling, not going to be easy at that third, at the very least. But Movie's got the 3 arbiters out there, and that could just be enough to do some really serious stasis. Dropships on the move again for Leta. Let's see what he's going to be able to do with that. But that 4th command center is nearly up. And Leta has got a couple of science vessels too, so it's going to come down to some spellcasting unit micro. Who's going to be able to get the spells off first? Is it going to be EMP or stasis? Stasis on the vessels! And Movie narrowly avoids losing that arbiter. So this is going to give Movie a window to attack with I think both the detection of those vessels negated and without any worry about EMPs. So he has a chance to do some damage pushing up now. But there's another science vessel in reserve on detection duty, and Movie is going to be pushed back for the moment. Those vessels should be thawing out pretty soon. In the meantime, that arbiter is on the move, and it's taking some Charon boosted Hellfire missiles. Stasis on that vessel, but the others have unfrozen, so the EMPs should start flying pretty soon. There goes that vessel. There's the EMP catching that arbiter and a good number of dragoons with it, so that's going to reduce the effectiveness of that whole army for a little bit. And Leta has got that 4th up, but it looks like it's immediately going to get recalled if Movie spots it. There's a turret going up on the north end, and there's another arbiter coming up from the south. Recall! It's a pretty small recall actually, but Movie didn't need a huge force there to deal with that. In the meantime, though, Leta has pushed up the right side of the map, and he's got a huge force parked outside of Movie's 3rd, and that's a nice combined arms force with vessel support. So it's going to be interesting to see how Movie's going to deal with that. Let's see. Movie's also expanding at the same time, so Movie's got to be pretty confident in being able to hold his defense over there. And it looks like... What happened there? I'm a little bit confused as to what happened with that big attack on the right-hand side. Here we go, tanks sieging and stasis going off. So Movie is now also pushing up the top of the map. That nexus for Movie was nearly taken down, but not quite. And yeah, and it looks like Movie's attack has also been stopped. Now that dropship force going to stop that building nexus, and this is very tense. This is a very tense game right now. Very back and forth. These players trading attacks blow for blow, and some vultures into the man of Movie. In the meantime, Movie has his forces massed on the other side of the map. It looks like Movie is going to have to be going for some clutch recalls here because his main is at risk. This is going to be crazy go nuts. Let's see what we've got here. Yeah, Movie's forces are out of position to defend the main base here, and there's a huge force pushing in there. In the meantime, though, Movie is taking expansions up the other side of the map, but he's lost one of his gas geysers already. He's going to be losing his stargates and a lot of his gateways. Movie's going to have to do something. He's massing up gateways on the other side of the map just so that he can keep building an army, which is of course going to be very important. But he's going to be delayed in his production. Here come the Arbiters. There are a lot of Arbiters in the air. And it looks like it's going to be a big recall at the third. I think he did get caught with a mine there. He's forced that expansion to lift, but is this going to be enough damage? He's lost the Arbiter to that turret, and that's a little bit clumsy. In the meantime, though, Movie is losing his entire original corner of the map. He has lost his third, he's losing his natural now, and his main is about to be sacked. So, Movie is going to need to do more damage than forcing an expansion to lift for a little while.